Hello there, ladies and gentlemen. My name is Simon. Welcome to the penultimate episode of Kenobi. It is the second to last episode, and it is, again, one of those series that just feels really short. I mean, yeah, it is short. It's 6 episodes. But, I mean, I think the fact that we've had some short episodes hasn't helped. Last week's episode was, I mean, it was good, but it was short, you know. And this week's episode is only a few minutes longer. So again, I am kind of disappointed in a way, because I feel like although the finale is probably going to be longer, it's going to be in the 50-minute mark. This one is 43 minutes. Take into account intro, recap, the long credits, it's probably more going to be like 35 minutes. And, you know, at this point, I'm kind of thinking, would they have been better trying to fit this all into a movie? You know, because I feel like it could have been tightened up and put into a theatrical experience. But I mean, this is what we're getting, and you know, again, I'm not unhappy with it. I've enjoyed the series. There's definitely some aspects of it that I think could have been done better. You know, with regards to like the cinematography, the environments. You know, some of them look a little bit dull. You know, I was thinking to myself, can't we just get like a Felucia planet experience? You know, rather than these dull kind of mining planets. You know, that we kind of they just look like Texas or, you know, any kind of, you know, outback states. It just, like, to me, I want to see Star Wars visuals from the prequels. You know, it's great having everything look realistic and grimy and, you know, lived in. But at the same time, I think it's good to have a mix of those kind of experiences. Episode 2 was a great kind of mix of the current, you know, sort of OT and prequel styles. You know, it was a very kind of Hong Kong-based environment, but it had a little bit of a Coruscant feel to it. So I definitely think there could have been some things done better with regards to that. And, you know, Fortress Inquisitorius last week, you know, it was kind of like a dull, grey ocean world. Whereas when we saw it in, you know, Jedi Fallen Order, it was this beautiful kind of ocean moon with, you know, Mustafar clearly visible at night, you know, in the background, you know, and it just looked more scenic. And, you know, again, that's something that I think could have been done a lot better here. In addition to like some of the editing and pacing. But I mean, last week's episode was, you know, again, a good episode. You know, we had some really good moments, like, you know, seeing the likes of Master Sunube and a youngling in, you know, amber, like frozen forever, as like a trophy for the Inquisitors. Vader being super pissed off, you know, was pretty cool. Seeing Obi-Wan just kind of slowly getting back into his fighting style was really cool, you know, doing a few twirls and whatnot. You know, so again, it was a good episode, and you can definitely see where they're building to. And now in this episode, obviously they're on the run. I had to go back and think to myself, I'm pretty sure they're going back to Jabim. But I was thinking to myself, why don't they just go straight to Alderaan, drop Leia off, and then just jump anywhere? Like, because I mean, at the end of the day, they all know where Leia's from. They know Leia is a princess of Alderaan. They know that she's Bail Organa's daughter. So what's the problem in just dropping her off while they can, and then them running, you know? And at that point, Lola, who is the tracker, would become useless. So I would like to see that question answered here, because I don't know if it was answered in the last one. I don't know if they're just going to Jabim for like refueling or a break, but they really shouldn't. But anyway, we'll jump in. Before we do, in fact, we are just going to jump in. So let's go and see what happens in episode 5 of Kenobi. Okay, yeah. Oh my god. Wait. No.
There you are.
Holy shit. What?
Are you? Then let's begin.
It's so beautiful. It's so beautiful. See, this is what I wanted in the Bacta scene last week.
My lord.
Tracker worked. He's arriving on Jabim as we speak.
You see, they should have gone to Alderaan.
Well.
Should have gone straight to Alderaan.
Kneel.
These people are going to be so sad about Wade.
We got her.
But we lost Wade.
Gotcha.
Oh.
What are you doing here?
How did you get there?
Nowhere else to go. Right after I saw you, I got into a fight with that scary lady Inquisitor.
We used an old trade route to get them out, but the window's closing. We held it to help you get the kid. We only have a few hours.
There we go. That's the reason. So, the greater good. That's a cool shot. Something about Vader on a Star Destroyer bridge. Oh, so she's not just acting as a tracker. She's acting as a saboteur. Lightsabers. Check for any Easter eggs, folks.
How do you know?
He knows. Yes! This is what I want! Give me Hayden.
Mercy doesn't defeat an enemy, Master.
Oh, Jesus Christ.
Which is why you're gonna lose.
Roken, how much time do you need to override the doors?
3-4 hours.
You have one. And block every other remote access. Everyone
That feels
else
like a Star Trek
lock
moment.
down every
How long do
other
you need?
entrance in
You
this
have a
facility.
quarter of that
We
time.
defend our position.
Why not just take your lightsaber and
It's a heavy gun.
cut the door?
Through the outside door. Roken.
Haja, will you keep your eye on her?
I am not a babysitter, Ben.
I have to go.
Oh. Who's contacting him? Is it Bale? Oh shit.
I pray you're safe, Obi-Wan. Both of you.
Oh dear. I need to get out of this quick.
I'll buy as much time as I can.
Oh, are we about to see Obi-Wan take on like an entire Stormtrooper division? Or is he just going to take on the third sister himself?
Unless you were there.
It doesn't matter.
She was a youngling.
The night of Order 66.
Holy shit, are we going to actually see it?
That's how you knew you saw him.
Oh, fuck. Oh, oh my god. Some people who want to see that. Yeah. She's gonna turn good. That's disappointing.
He was your Padawan. Why didn't you stop him? Why didn't you save us?
She blames him as well. That makes sense. I guess you could see this
I
coming.
don't need what I've done alone.
I said this from the beginning. Why didn't you just do that? Yes. Look at him holding the front line. Yeah. I don't know how the Stormtroopers are still missing though, you know, it's... Oh, the droid's gonna die, isn't he? Droid's gonna die. Goddamn, Stormtroopers are so... Well, wow. Oh! They are so terrible. Yeah. Oh. They die together. I just pictured the droid collapsing on top of her, killing her. Gotta give us that one Stormtrooper who's trying to take on a Jedi alone. Oh no. More loss. More death.
There's no way out, Master.
That's just like the Luke.
You are beaten.
You can't quit. I fought for too long. You can't just throw that away. It won't make.
Are we about to get a
difference. They want
Qui-Gon
out.
appearance?
Vader wants me.
If you surrender, she died for nothing. He'll keep coming. Seize him.
I didn't see this coming, I will admit.
I'm bringing him to you.
Yes. He's forcing the issue.
This isn't over yet.
He's gonna force a fight. Again, as much as I dislike the idea of another Imperial turning good, at least this one kind of makes sense to the story. Look at that gorgeous mullet, man. Oh. Jeez, let him go.
Alright, everybody, run! Come on, let's go!
Probably would have been smart to have people already loaded on the transport. I mean, you've got nowhere else to go.
Everything's all set.
Yeah. This does have a very Hoth feel to it. Okay. Whoa. Okay. That was a distraction. There was two of them. Don't you dare say no now.
Padawan you will still be.
Even though you look about 40 now. I love this shot, but you just can't deny the fact that they do look a little aged up. Okay. That did not work out as you'd like.
Wise to use you against me.
Damn, he doesn't even need to use his saber. I hate the spinny blade. Uh-oh. Okay. Ah, so wanted Vader to fight double-bladed. Again, I feel like he's toying with her. He's like, here, have your fun. While you can. Do it. Do it. Oh my god. They actually filmed scenes of him cutting down children.
I did not see it, youngling.
Youngling, he knows. And there's the Grand Inquisitor. Of course.
In the gutter
No.
where you belong.
Be smart. Like, actually make sure she's dead. You're doing it wrong.
Grand Inquisitor.
You're doing it wrong. Kill her.
Hyperdrive is down,
Oh.
and they're behind us.
Isn't that always the way? I feel like hyperdrive failure is the real this is the way. Was it the communicator?
Are you listening to me?
Now he has to go back. That's the crux for him having to go back and face him down again. Okay, so another good episode, just criminally short. You know, it's like, I really want these to be like full length, 45, 50-minute episodes where they just take a little bit more time to breathe, you know. Everything that happened in this episode was great. You know, I don't have any major complaints about it. You know, we got a lot of stuff that I really wanted to see. The flashbacks to Obi-Wan and Anakin back during, you know, essentially the Clone Wars era. You know, Anakin's still got his short hair. He's in his Padawan phase. Obi-Wan has that beautiful mullet. You know, although their faces, I'm sure that they've done a lot to try and digitally de-age them. You can just tell sometimes in the face that, you know, they are recording this 20 odd years after the fact, but it doesn't bother me because, you know, you still get that essence of them during that era. And I just feel like, you know, we could have had so much more of that. I mean, it was really cleverly used, you know, in this episode, when you think about the fact that Vader is thinking this whole time about the lesson that Obi-Wan was trying to teach him, that his ego, his pride, his need to be a victor, cost him. And, you know, this was very much, you know, relevant in this episode, because again, it's like, if Vader had tried to just go and win against Obi-Wan at any cost, he very well may not have seen the betrayal coming, but he has learned the lesson that Obi-Wan was trying to teach him, that, you know, don't allow anger to completely cloud your judgment. And, you know, for a moment it looked like that was going to happen, but, you know, Vader has, in a strange way, matured. But again, in this episode, it did show him at his terrifyingly strongest, literally ripping down a transport and just taking chunks out of it with the Force. And, you know, the fight with Reva, she stood no chance. He was completely toying with her in every aspect. You know, he ripped her saber out of her hands, split it in two, threw it back to her, and was like, well, let's give this a dance. And then just completely destroyed her in every sense of the word. And again, I suppose that is where my minor complaint for the episode comes in, is that, you know, the fact that they have once again left someone to die and they've not made sure the job is done. I mean, you know, this is supposed to be the smart empire, you know, the empire that has managed to conquer an entire galaxy. And it just feels like a lot of the things they do sometimes are just completely stupid. You know, they have proof right there in front of them with the Grand Inquisitor that stabbing someone in the stomach is not enough to kill them, especially if they're a dark side user, because their anger, as Maul proved many years ago, your anger can keep you alive even after a mortal wound. So the fact that they just left her there to die, it frustrates me, because it's like, I like villains to be smart. I like villains to be strong, because if you don't have a strong, smart villain, then the ultimate victory for the good guys doesn't feel as well earned. It doesn't feel, you know, as gratuitous, because, you know, at the end of the day, this is why I think, like, you know, when the rebellion eventually beats the Empire and Return of the Jedi, it doesn't feel that great, because, you know, the Empire is just kind of shown to be really weak. Despite being overwhelmingly, you know, more powerful, having the numbers, you know, having the resources, it could have been shown a lot better than it was, and it didn't. You know, we got these Ewoks that made the stormtroopers look like fools, and in the end, you kind of like, okay, well, I'm glad the rebellion won, but I mean, was it really that difficult in the end? You know, it didn't. Empire Strikes Back was great because you felt the overwhelming force of the Empire and how much of a struggle it was for the rebellion. At that point, any win for the rebellion is well earned and feels like a victory. But now it comes to, like, you know, since Return of the Jedi onwards, it's always felt like the Empire is a clumsy, dumb, kind of massive force of, you know, imbeciles. Stormtroopers who can't aim for shit, officers who make stupid decisions, you know, and even here, you know, like to the Grand Inquisitor and Vader, leaving Reva alive, and she will ultimately come back next episode to do something that will cost them. You know, I don't know exactly what, because we know that both Vader and Grand Inquisitor will live, but it's clear that they will cost victory for the Empire. But again, that's my minor complaint. What I really did love is the fact that, you know, again, we got confirmation of Reva's, you know, motivation this whole time. And I really do think they should have revealed the motivation sooner. Because, I mean, it wasn't a huge surprise. Like, I think everyone knew deep down that her motivation was that she was against Vader. I think what it did by holding on to that so long is created a lot of angst and a lot of bad feelings towards Reva and unfortunately Moses Ingram, because they saw Reva as taking Vader's place and her being the focus of the story rather than Vader and Obi-Wan. Whereas if we'd have gotten her motivations in the first or second episode, it would have made a lot more sense, and I think people would have been a lot more open to having her being in the spotlight, because they knew that ultimately she was going to figure into that fight in a way that would aid Obi-Wan, you know. But again, I like how it's like, you know, she's completely out for herself. She isn't interested in helping Obi-Wan, even though she hates Vader. She doesn't trust Obi-Wan, because, you know, ultimately she blames him as much as he blames Anakin. You know, and her, I mean, her surviving Order 66 by playing dead, that feels a bit cheap to me, because I don't feel like Anakin would have been Anakin would have known. And, you know, those stormtroopers, those clone troopers were really laying into the dead bodies, you know. They weren't leaving anyone alive. So I think it would have been better if Anakin had seen something in her, and specifically took her as, you know, not an apprentice per se, but, you know, took her to be used as an Inquisitor from the very get-go. So, you know, again, small minor complaints. Another minor complaint I'd have is the fact that, once again, we kind of got a very dull setting here. I mean, I appreciate that this was like a siege episode, and so there's only so much that you can do. But I just think there's so much more that you can do. We saw in the Clone Wars flashback here how lush and gorgeous the surroundings can be. You know, they're capable of making these beautiful sets with the prequel era styles, you know, and we saw Coruscant in the background. I think that they could afford to do that for, you know, all of the sets. You know, just because we're approaching the original trilogy doesn't mean everything has to look original trilogy. You know, I would like to see in the last episode, although I doubt we're going to get it, some, you know, some really nice, you know, cinematic environments, rather than it just looking like any other kind of sci-fi show. But again, you know, that's a minor complaint. I think that this episode was really good. Love the flashbacks. Just wish we'd gotten them sooner. You know, with, you know, more interaction between Anakin and Obi-Wan in the past. You know, I think this episode will please a lot of the haters, because they got to see what they really want to see, which is, you know, Reva getting stabbed through the stomach. Anakin killing younglings. You know, that sounds really strange, but some people really just want to see that happen. You know, despite the implied context of, you know, younglings being sort of murdered, they actually wants to see it happen, which I just find a little bit, like, too much. Like, you know, I get that, you know, you want to see Anakin at his worst, but you really want to see him killing children, you know, as a proof of that. It's like, I don't know, warning signs. But no, I think it will. This is an episode that will please a lot of people, because it has the flashbacks, you know, to the, you know, Anakin and Obi-Wan in the Clone Wars, has the Vader being really strong, you know, has Obi-Wan kind of being more confident and, you know, being more Jedi-like, you know, and it sets me up with some hope for the last one, because, you know, again, at the end of the last episode, I was a little bit worried about where things were going, and it's becoming a bit stagnant. But, you know, I think, like, this episode, it was fun. It was entertaining. It had a lot of stuff that I wanted to see. And, you know, it sets up a finale, which, you know, at this point, I'm trying to put together how Vader is going to find Obi-Wan now. Because, you know, they're away. I suppose this is going to be a case of the hype drive isn't working. They're chasing us. They're probably going to get to a planet somewhere. Obi-Wan's going to, you know, break away from the survivors so they can escape, and, you know, we'll probably get some kind of a showdown scene. But we'll have to see how it goes. But yeah, one more episode and then we're done. So thank you all very much for watching. I hope you enjoyed it, and I'll see you all for the next one.